Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Irene Bremis. Irene Bremis, how the hell are you?
Oh, hell, I'm doing good.
Oh, good.
I like being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's so nice for you to come in on such a cold day. And where do people find you do stand-up comedy on stage, and where can they find you online?
Okay. Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Irene Bremis. Also on Twitter at Irene Bremis 13. I'm pretty much, everywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere, yeah, that's about it.
And your upcoming shows, or your you've done a one-person show before, I thought.
Right. I did a one-person show. I do want to plug, though, if that's okay.
Yeah,
shamelessly plug.
Yeah, that's the opportunity. Right now is the time to do it.
You can also find me. This is the time to do it. My album, Unladylike, everywhere albums could be found.
Yeah, I saw it on Spotify.
Okay. Yep, on Spotify, iTunes, and a bunch of other places.
Oh, cool. Yeah. You'd rather have them buy it on iTunes than stream
exactly.
it, right?
Yes. Please don't be cheap. Do it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
And
that's as nice as I get.
And that's how unladylike you are. Like, what kind of things can they expect from that album?
Honesty, I guess. I'd like to think that I just tell it like it is, kind of uncensored.
Okay.
Maybe not what's so popular in mainstream America, but you know what? Screw it. That's how I feel, and that's about it. Have you seen Wanda Sykes? Then I saw Wanda Sykes' special, and there was like this little part in it. Can we swear on this thing?
Oh, please do.
Oh,
please
good.
Do.
Okay, please do. Thank you. I love you already, Brian. You're amazing. I'll give you a reach around after the show, okay, because this is really awkward.
Oh, good.
Okay. So I saw Wanda Sykes' show, and it was so amazing, her one, and Not Normal. And there's this one part where she goes, Wanda, would it really fucking kill you to be a little bit more ladylike? And then she goes, yeah, it would. And that's how I feel. I feel like, why color everything? Why not be able to be uncensored? We are comics, and if we can't be uncensored, there's no point to doing comedy.
Yeah, you're more interesting when you are uncensored.
Yeah, true.
I think in general, like I'm just saying, everybody is more interesting when they are unfiltered, because I want to see who they are.
Right.
And if you're unfiltered, I'll actually see who you are.
Right.
Like I didn't know who you were until you brought up the reach around, and I thought it was a great idea.
Right. I'm like, great. Okay, so we're on board. See, we're already getting along.
And so,
seamlessly.
And one of the things that I wouldn't have known about you is that you have some autism somewhere in your, like I saw it on your bio, that there was somebody in your life with autism, and that's
correct.
that you've been with. I mean, meaning this is somebody very close to you. So what's your experience with it, and what can you teach somebody who knows nothing about it like me about autism?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you in that seamless segue into autism after the vile, destructive derailment we both experienced. Anyway, you're fantastic. Okay. I feel like when I have a brother, an older brother who's autistic, and I am his co-guardian, which means I take care of a lot of stuff for him. He's severely autistic, and it's interesting because he's older. He's like in his early 50s, and he was autistic at a time when autism couldn't speak, and so they didn't know much about it. But I feel like now there's an awareness with autism, and there's different. It's like being on the spectrum. There's Asperger's. There's being on the autism spectrum, and then there's severely autistic. So it's basically, I believe, it's hard to deal with somebody who has autism, but it's basically not being able to receive information simultaneously. Okay. You get really, really frustrated. You're not able to express yourself properly and adequately, and they're not sure how autism comes to be, or but it is becoming very pandemic now. I think we know. I don't know what the statistics are, but it seems like every time, somebody's popping up and saying they have either an autistic child or an autistic sibling, it's more and more common.
Yeah, people are
affected by autism,
diagnosing it and discussing it more often, especially with social media and things.
Right.
And so, you dealing with it, does this mean that your communication towards him has to be more like limited and focused? Like you couldn't bring up 3 things and expect him to process all that information simultaneously.
Well, you can bring up 3 things. My brother's severely autistic, and when I mean they're very habitual. Let me put it that way. Okay, there's with my brother at least. My brother has to have a regimen where he does the same thing at the same time. And if you, stray or veer from his routine, it's very upsetting for him. So I feel like often autistic children can be very volatile, and like I said, they can't receive a lot of external information simultaneously. Like I can talk to you and then maybe hear some buzzing going on in the background, and then maybe hear my phone ringing, and I'm fine with that. This is very destructive for they get very jarred by this kind of interference. They're able, I guess it's seared focus, if you will. They have seared focus.
And so that, like it manifests itself in kids. Like if you don't know if the kid has autism or not, he might come off as volatile, but really it's just he's getting stimulus from all over the place, and you're interrupting his routine that he prefers or whatever.
Wow.
And well, I mean, is that true?
You're getting this so much.
Well, no,
you might have a touch of Asperger's yourself.
Yeah, I got OCD, which is its own
a tick. It's
its own form of rituals that I have to do before I leave any room. I have to check.
Now it's interesting, and I'm gonna tell you what you just brought up is very important, because this is coming to light now that OCD is also a tick that's affiliated with Asperger's and autism.
Oh, okay.
My brother also, I have OCD too.
Oh, cool.
And there's different types of obsessive compulsive disorders. We all have something, we really do. But this is my brother also has OCD.
Okay.
Because when you have autism, you also have like other tics, often like maybe Tourette's or obsessive compulsive disorder, a myriad of things, if you will. That's just delightful. Anyway,
he's been blessed with both.
Yeah, he's been blessed with both. He's been gifted with all three.
Oh my gosh, and the seared focus of OCD is something that I couldn't imagine if people were stuck in that all day long.
Right.
And so my question to you is, like, when you I guess you probably have to communicate things to him, to prepare him for the following day or the following week, or just communicate information to him. Have you somehow worked that into his schedule, where it's like, okay, well, I'll leave you on, and I'll let you do your schedule until this time, and after this show or something, we're going to talk about a couple new things.
Right. Okay, that's good. Actually, it's a really good way to deal with somebody who's autistic, because if you have to prepare them adequately. Like they have to be prepared for anything that you're going to do with them. Like, for example, if I want to take my brother to a doctor's appointment, I have to start planting the seed that we're going to go to a doctor's appointment, and then we're going to do this so that he can adequately prepare for it. Everything is preparation.
And how far in advance do you find yourself planting those seeds?
Sometimes just the night before, which is not a lot of notice. I'm giving him the 2-minute warning, which is not fair for anyone. But outside of football,
too much notice though might freak somebody out.
But too much notice, if God forbid something happens, now you're married to that plan, and that can be very upsetting for him if we have to break the plan.
But also, I would think, like, even if it was a couple weeks in advance and it were something unpleasant like a doctor's appointment, I would find myself obsessed.
Then I bribed him.
I'd be like, I'd be obsessing about it for weeks. And so it's nice that it's only the night before, because if it were weeks before, I'd be obsessed. I'd be ruminating about this negative thing that I have to do.
Right. That's true. Exactly. And I don't want him ruminating. But at the same time, if I usually bribe him. I know that's really terrible, and I shouldn't admit that, but I do.
And you bribe him with what?
With terrible stuff. This is like a double whammy right now.
No.
Like McDonald's. I'm sorry, okay? Stop judging me. This is a judgment-free booth. I can see that.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's mentally healthy, if not physically healthy.
I have to bribe him because, there has to be some reward for the pain that he's going to go through at the dentist. Anyway, so then he looks forward to that more. So in a way, he's actually very positive. Think about it. He's overlooking the negative just to get to the positive, which I, as a person that's not afflicted with autism, I can't seem to do that in my own career. I always focus and fixate on the negative, what I mean, and never really, so he sees the forest through the trees.
And so you are learning lessons from your brother in that you should be a little bit more able to focus on the positive things in your career. And one of them is are you still telling the same jokes from Unladylike on stage?
No, you know what? I have an entire different, and I'm pretty proud to say a completely different, I want to say another hour of prolific material.
How do you do that?
Listen, we all get stuck sometimes, but I think now, when I started years ago, I started stand up like 20 years ago. Okay. And when I first started, the golden rule was that you have to repeat your material. You have to hone your art. You just have to repeat. You have to repeat. You have to repeat, which is the literal definition of insanity. Now, something instinctually told me that repetition is not the way to go, but I did because it was a formula. Who am I to say? We can't recreate what's already been working for so many people.
Yeah.
You start with the same joke, you end with the same joke. Start with it. But I always was very prolific in the beginning, and then I started, using this other structure. There's a merit to actually repeating material and building on it,
Right.
taking a joke and writing and taking it to a whole other level, adding beats to it. I get it, okay? But I think now, because of social media and everything else, we're now I'm revisiting the former Irene who started stand-up, which is like, you need to stay prolific because it's all been done and said. There's too many ways to access what you're saying online, on your album. You know what I mean? People have already heard it. If you're going to be performing live and they've already heard the joke 500 times, then you're going to have to mix it up. You're going to have to write new material. So how do I do it? You just, do it. If you can write one joke, you can write another joke. It's just... you just have to quiet yourself and just write.
Seared focus.
Yeah, seared focus.
Can you
there we go.
call on any of your own OCD to kind of help you write? Like when do you write during the day? And
I do obsess. I do actually. I have my OCD, and I'm being very open about this. Is the way that I can phrase things. Like I have, people have rituals where they have to wash. I don't know what your OCD is, but
it's checking things.
Checking things.
To make sure things are off or unplugged.
Okay, off or unplugged. Okay, so you're basically safe. I love that we have to label that like it's
yeah. And
like
then somebody else,
disorder.
Another OCD person looks at that and is like, why are you obsessed with that? But then I'm also like, well, why are you washing your hands 85 times? I'm not obsessed with the same things, but we're both compelled.
Right,
in the same
and
way.
my obsession is words. Like I always have to think about how I want to phrase things and how I could phrase it in another way to make it. So I guess it's like very helpful in stand-up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I figure out, this is my obsession, words. How am I going to say this, rephrase this? How is it going to be more effective? And then I repeat it in my head. Maybe I should say it this way. Maybe I should say it that way.
And is that one of the reasons why you ended up on stage, because you have a microphone and you have the complete power to say things the way you want to?
No, actually, no, it's not. I never dreamt of being a stand-up. Like I'm sure a lot of people that come into this very room have professed to have a dream since they were children. Not me, not at all.
Okay.
I was writing and pitching a show to William Morris. It was like a comedy cooking show, and then I got pulled into stand-up.
Oh.
Yeah, and I still hate that bitch. I hate her for pulling me into stand-up because we know it's a love-hate. It's a love-hate. It's almost like now you're chasing the dragon. It's the inevitable. It's like you've been bitten and now you have to continue this path.
Right.
It's
but you have something to show for it. They can stream or better yet buy Unladylike, Irene Bremis.
Unladylike. And also I do have a podcast that we shot one season with actress Jennifer Esposito. It's called #SuckIt on Spotify and every other
and it's political
platform.
It's political, right?
This one isn't. It's we talk a lot about politics, but I was on I co-hosted John Fugelsang's show on Sirius XM. Yeah. So but this one is we talk about politics, we talk about social issues and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can find it on all those
and
where podcasts live.
And where this podcast episode lives, they can find you there as well. And the name of that pod is what again?
It's called #SuckIt.
All right.
And my album, more importantly, album, because I'm a narcissist, which is also another form of insanity, is Unladylike.
And then you'll be talking about things like reach-arounds, I hope?
Yes, absolutely. Because
they're so
important. They keep the world. They keep the world going.
It's just common fucking courtesy, man.
Exactly.
But also, one of the names of the bits is Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. I talk about Bernie.
And that's the one with the reach around on it.
Yeah, of course. So Bernie,
So listen to that one. And then Irene Bremis 13 on Twitter.
That's right.
And then elsewhere, are you IreneBremis.com?
I am Irene Bremis on Instagram. And that's it. I don't have a website. I'm a bad comic. But it's very outdated.
Yeah, I think I saw your bio there. So it's still up, but it's a little dated.
Yeah, it's on ladylike.com. Yeah, but it needs to be updated. So whatever
look
you do.
At the social. Irene Bremis across social. Or Irene Bremis 13.
That's correct.
And she's funnier than the other 12 Irene Bremises who have the Twitter handle.
That have failed miserably. 13 is lucky. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Just ask me and Johnny Cash.
She's unfiltered. She's unladylike. Irene Bremis, thank you so much.
Thank you.